Hi there. I really enjoyed this week's TED Talk. I thought Lydia was very relatable in how she was unashamed of her past and willing to share that with us, and how hard that must have been to be able to talk about how she had a really difficult home life and how she had the failed marriages and the time in jail and the loss of her daughter and just all the really big events that had happened in her life that um, would really halt your ability to dream or hope that you could become what you once thought you could be. And for her, that was being a writer. And I had to laugh about how when she said when she received the letter to go to that event, that she took a full day to process it with a huge glass of vodka. And how, up until that point, she just had a life and a journey that was full of failures and broken dreams, and that she had all but given up on becoming a writer, and how even when she was offered to be published or represented, how she froze again, that she really hadn't given that dream much weight, that she didn't think it would be something that would actually come to fruition, and she didn't know how to hope or visualize something good for herself. And so I could relate to her in some ways, having experienced struggles with just completing college. It really was difficult for me. First time around, I just didn't have any direction and didn't do well, and so I stopped. The second time around, it was only offered in person, and it was a traditional class schedule, and I was juggling toddlers and busy home life, and I just couldn't make that work. There wasn't enough hours in the day. I was doing school from 10:30 at night till midnight, 1 in the morning, and I just couldn't keep that pace. And then thankfully now with the adult degree program, it's much more obtainable to work and do life and also do school. And so it is tricky, but being able to visualize and see that it can happen and that our dreams might be postponed, that our goals might take longer than we had originally hoped. But that doesn't mean that we shouldn't stick with them. I thought that was really great encouragement, and I honestly got a little distracted with her dress, thinking that it was a really great representation for her story, and how something beautiful can be formed just with so many different facets and mediums, and that while it looks chaotic, it can be how it's designed. And so I thought that was interesting. It reminded me of my essays that the journeys of where I've been, and taking the time to edit them and edit them and edit them, hoping that they can be refined and that I'm giving the appropriate weight and attention to the stories that have helped shape me into who I am today, because like she mentioned, that only we can tell our stories. And that I like how she said the weird ass portals to something beautiful, and giving voice to the story, that so many of these stories that we're all sharing and writing haven't been easy, well, at least for me, haven't been easy to revisit or think on, because you have to move on. There's something else going on in your life, and some of these I just haven't reflected on for a long time. And so it is interesting to go back and find a way just to be thankful for those bumpy roads and detours and pitfalls, all of those that happened, because although they weren't planned, they're part of me, and I am thankful, and I should not be proud or ashamed of my story, and I shouldn't be afraid to write about it either. And so although I'm not always fond of writing, it's not my favorite subject, I have enjoyed taking the time to go back and just reflect and trying to write it in a way that accurately represents it and gives it the space that it deserves as well. So that was my take. I hope you guys have a good week.